The space station New Horizon hung in Earth's orbit like a shining metal star. Inside the main observation deck, Captain Dae-hyun Kim adjusted his blue uniform one last time. Today was the day humanity would meet aliens face to face for the first time. "How do I look?" he asked, turning to Lieutenant Subin Park. Subin smiled. "Like a man about to make history." Dae-hyun nodded and looked out the large window. The alien ship approached slowly. It was beautiful, shaped like a giant teardrop with glowing blue lines running across its silver surface. 4 months ago, humanity had received the first message from the Galactic Federation. After weeks of careful communication, the Zoralians had agreed to send representatives to meet humans. In person. "I never thought I would see this day," said Dr. Jiwoo Lee as she joined them at the window. As the team's cultural attaché, she had studied the limited information they had about alien customs. "Remember, no sudden movements. They get nervous, easily." The station's speakers came to life. "Captain, the alien shuttle is approaching Docking Bay 3. "Thank you, Control. We're on our way," Dae-hyun replied. He took a deep breath. "Let's go meet our new neighbors." The 3 humans stood in the spotless docking bay, watching as the small alien shuttle connected to their station. Dae-hyun felt his heart beating fast. Behind him, 20 guards stood at attention, their uniforms perfect. They were there for ceremony, not protection. Earth's leaders had agreed that showing trust was important. With a soft hiss, the airlock door opened. The first alien stepped through, and Dae-hyun had to stop himself from gasping. The Zoralian stood slightly taller than a human, with thin limbs and blue skin so clear it was almost see-through. He could see darker blue lines beneath the skin, perhaps their version of veins. Most striking were the 4 eyes, 2 large, ones in the normal position and 2 smaller ones above them, all blinking at different times. The alien wore a flowing silver robe with complex patterns that seemed to move in the light. 5 more aliens followed, dressed in similar clothes but with different colored patterns. "Welcome to Earth," Dae-hyun said clearly. "I am Captain Dae-hyun Kim of the United Earth Space Force." The translator devices they all wore, small silver discs attached to their collars, hummed softly. The lead alien touched a metal band on its wrist, and a gentle voice came from it. "I am Ambassador Trill of the Zoralian Confederation, representing the Galactic Federation. We bring greetings from the 17 United Species." Dae-hyun smiled and gestured to his team. "This is Lieutenant Subin Park, our xenolinguist, and Dr. Jiwoo Lee, our cultural attaché." The alien made a flowing gesture with its 4-fingered hands. "These are my advisors. We are pleased to finally meet the newest intelligent species, to join our galactic community." The formal introductions continued for several minutes. Dae-hyun noticed how carefully the aliens moved, each gesture seeming planned and meaningful. They were clearly paying close attention to every detail around them. "We have prepared a tour of our station," Dae-hyun said. "Would you like to see how humans live in space?" Ambassador Trill's head tilted slightly. "That would be acceptable. We are curious about your ways." For the next 2 hours, the human team showed the aliens around the space station. The Zoralians seemed most interested in the hydroponics bay where plants grew under special lights. "You grow living organisms for visual pleasure?" Ambassador Trill asked, 4 eyes blinking in different patterns as they looked at the flowers. "Some for beauty," Jiwoo explained, "but many for food as well." The aliens exchanged looks that Dae-hyun couldn't read. "Fascinating," said one of the advisors, but something in the tone made Dae-hyun wonder if they found it disturbing instead. Later, they gathered in the station's conference room. The walls displayed views of Earth below and stars above. The meeting was going well. They had discussed basic information about their worlds, governments, and the general structure of the Galactic Federation. "Your species has advanced quickly," Ambassador Trill noted. "From simple radio signals to space travel in less than 200 Earth cycles. Most species take twice as long." "We are eager to learn and explore," Subin replied. She had been carefully recording every detail of the Zoralian language patterns. "We hope to be valuable members of the galactic community." The ambassador's upper eyes blinked. Your enthusiasm is notable. The Federation Council is interested in establishing regular diplomatic exchanges with Earth. We would welcome that, Daehyun said. He felt proud of how smoothly everything was going. The aliens seemed formal but friendly. Their body language was different. They stood very still and moved their hands in precise patterns when speaking, but they clearly wanted peaceful relations. As the meeting came to an end, Daehyun decided it was time to make a gesture of goodwill. In all human cultures, sharing food was a sign of friendship and trust. Ambassador Trill, he said warmly, we would be honored if you and your delegation would join us for dinner tomorrow evening. Our chef has prepared a special menu to celebrate our first meeting. The effect was immediate and shocking. All 6 aliens went completely still. Their blue skin seemed to pale. The 4 advisors moved closer together, and one made a quick gesture with its hands. The translator devices buzzed with sudden activity. Ambassador Trill's 4 eyes were now all focused directly on Daehyun. The friendly atmosphere in the room vanished. We. The ambassador's voice sounded strange through the translator. We must return to our ship to consult with our superiors. Daehyun looked at Subin and Jiwoo in confusion. Of course, but is everything all right? Have I said something wrong? No explanations are needed at this time, the ambassador said quickly. We will contact you after we have processed this development. The aliens moved toward the door with much faster steps than before. Their formal, careful movements were gone, replaced by what looked like barely controlled panic. Please, if I have offended you in some way, Daehyun started to say. We will speak later. Ambassador Trill cut him off. The alien made a gesture that caused the other Zeralians to move even faster toward the exit. Within minutes, they had returned to their shuttle. Daehyun, Subin, and Jiwoo watched in stunned silence as the aliens departed without any of the formal goodbye rituals they had used when arriving. What just happened? Daehyun asked as they watched the shuttle speed back to the larger ship. Subin shook her head. I don't know. Everything was going perfectly until you mentioned dinner. Jiwoo frowned. Did we miss something about their culture? Is sharing food offensive to them? The station's communication officer's voice came through the speakers. Captain, the alien vessel is powering up its engines. They're moving to a higher orbit and, sir, they appear to be activating some kind of defensive systems. Daehyun stared out the window at the beautiful teardrop ship now pulling away from Earth. Get me a communication line to them right now. But the Zeralian ship wasn't answering. Something had gone terribly wrong, and humanity's first contact was quickly turning into a disaster. All because of a dinner invitation. They're still not answering our calls, Lieutenant Subin Park said with frustration. It had been 6 hours since the Zeralian delegation had fled the space station. Their large ship now orbited Earth at a much greater distance, silent and watchful. Captain Daehyun Kim rubbed his tired eyes. Keep trying. Use all communication channels we know they can receive. The control room of the New Horizons space station was tense. Screens displayed the alien ship, now just a small dot in the distance. Other screens showed worried faces of Earth's leaders in an emergency video meeting. The United Nations Security Council is meeting right now, said the Secretary General, on the main screen. We need to know what went wrong. Honestly, we don't know, Daehyun replied. Everything was going well until I invited them to dinner. Then they acted like I had threatened them. Dr. Jiwoo Lee sat in the corner of the room, surrounded by screens displaying all the information they had about Zeralian culture. She had barely moved for hours, searching for answers. Captain, she called suddenly. I think I found something. Everyone turned to look at her. In the first messages we received from the Galactic Federation, there was a section about Zeralian history. I didn't think it was important then, but now. She pulled up an image on the main screen. It showed ancient-looking symbols. This describes what they call the time of hunger. About 10,000 years ago, before they became a spacefaring species, the Zeralians faced a terrible famine. Some of their ancient tribes. She paused, looking uncomfortable. What? Daehyun pressed. Some tribes ate members of enemy tribes to survive, Jiwoo said quietly. It was the darkest time in their history, and they're deeply ashamed of it. Their entire modern culture is built around moving past this history. The room went silent as everyone realized what had happened. So when I invited them to dinner, Daehyun began, they thought you might be suggesting eating together with them or eating them, Jiwoo finished. In their language, the concept of having dinner with someone can be interpreted multiple ways. Subin hit her desk with her hand. No wonder they ran. They think we're cannibals who casually invite guests. To be meals. We need to fix this now, Daehyun said firmly. Prepare a clear message explaining the misunderstanding. Ambassador Trill stood before the emergency communication panel on the Zaralian ship. All 4 of his eyes were wide with stress. The ship's captain and senior officers surrounded him. The humans have sent 16 messages in the past hour, said the communications officer. Have they made any aggressive moves? Asked Captain Zeal, the ship's commander. No. Their military vessels remain in standard positions, but they keep sending messages asking to clear up a misunderstanding. Ambassador Trill's skin rippled with anxiety patterns. I have reported to the Federation Council. They are sending additional ships to observe the situation. Should we read their messages? Asked a junior officer. Trill hesitated. Yes, but be careful. These humans are strange. They seemed so normal, so reasonable. Then suddenly, their leader invites us to... He couldn't even finish the sentence. The communications officer displayed the latest human message. It was from Dr. Jiwoo Lee. Honorable Zaralian representatives, we believe a serious translation error has occurred. When Captain Kim invited you to have dinner, he was offering to share prepared plant and synthesized food with you as a sign of friendship. This is a human custom of welcome. We do not consume sentient beings. Please respond so we can correct this terrible misunderstanding. The Zaralians looked at each other. Could it be true? Captain Zeal asked. A translation error? Trill's upper eyes narrowed. Perhaps, but we know very little about humans. They grow living plants for consumption. Who knows what else they eat? The Federation archives did mention that some younger species still consume solid organic material, said the science officer. We should investigate more before re-establishing direct contact, Trill decided. Send a message saying we are considering their explanation. Back on the New Horizon, Daehyun read the brief message from the Zaralians with relief. At least, they're talking to us again, he said. But they want proof that we don't eat other sentient beings. How do we prove something like that? Subin asked. Jiwoo had been quiet, thinking. We show them, she said simply. We create a documentary showing exactly what humans eat and how we prepare it. That's brilliant, Daehyun said. But we need to be careful about how we present it. Remember, these are beings who probably don't eat solid food at all. For the next 12 hours, the station crew worked to create a clear, simple video about human food. They showed farms with plants growing, kitchens with chefs carefully preparing, vegetables, and finally humans eating together peacefully. Now we wait, Daehyun said after they sent the video to the Zaralian ship. The response came faster than expected. Ambassador Trill himself appeared on the communication screen, though he still looked tense. Captain Kim, the alien said formally, we have reviewed your educational material. It is disturbing in many ways, but it does support your claim that you do not consume sentient beings. Daehyun felt a wave of relief. I'm deeply sorry for the misunderstanding. In human culture, sharing food is a way to build friendship. Yes, we are beginning to understand this, Trill said. His 4 eyes blinked in different patterns. However, we were shocked by how you process your food. You cut living plants and apply heat to destroy their cellular structure before inserting them into a body opening? Daehyun tried not to smile. Of course, the concept of cooking and eating would seem alien to species with different biology. Yes, humans need to process certain foods to safely digest them, he explained carefully. When I invited you to dinner, I meant only to show hospitality. We would never have expected you to eat our food if it was not compatible with your biology. Trill's skin color shifted slightly. I see. This explanation aligns with analysis from our cultural experts. However, the Federation Council wishes to proceed with caution. What does that mean? Daehyun asked. Additional Federation ships are arriving to observe Earth while we establish proper communication protocols. 3 ships will reach your solar system within 48 hours. Daehyun felt a chill. That sounded like a small fleet, not a diplomatic mission. Ambassador, I assure you this is all a misunderstanding. We pose no threat. We hope that is true, Trill said. Our history teaches us to be careful with species who still... He paused, seemingly searching for a diplomatic way to phrase it. Who still practice physical consumption of organic matter. After the communication ended, Daehyun turned to his team with worry in his eyes. 3 more alien ships are coming. And they still think we're dangerous because we eat food? Zubin looked alarmed. They're treating us like primitives or potential threats. We need to convince them quickly that humans are peaceful, Jiwoo said. Before the Federation decides Earth needs to be contained rather than welcomed. Daehyun nodded grimly. What had started as a simple dinner invitation was now a serious diplomatic crisis that could determine humanity's place in the galaxy. Captain Daehyun Kim stood at the large observation window of the New Horizon space station, watching as the 3rd alien ship arrived in Earth's orbit. The new vessels were different from the Zaralian ship, darker, with sharp angles instead of smooth curves. They positioned themselves in a triangle formation with Earth at the center. Not exactly a friendly welcome committee, said Lieutenant Subin Park as she joined him at the window. No, Daehyun agreed. More like guards watching, a prisoner. Dr. Jiwoo Lee rushed into the observation deck, her tablet computer clutched tightly in her hands. Captain, we're receiving messages from all over the galaxy. What do you mean? Daehyun asked, turning away from the window. Our deep space communication array is picking up transmissions between different alien worlds. They're all talking about us. Jiwoo's face was pale. Word has spread through the Galactic Federation about humans. And what are they saying? Subin asked, though her tone suggested she already knew the answer. Jiwoo displayed her tablet. It showed translations of various alien messages. They're calling us the consumption species, or the devourers. Some reports say we tried to eat the Zaralian ambassador. Daehyun closed his eyes briefly. This is getting out of hand. One dinner invitation and suddenly, Earth is seen as a planet of monsters. The station's communication system chimed. Captain, we have an incoming transmission from the Federation Council. The 3 humans exchanged worried looks before heading to the communication center. On the main screen appeared a being unlike any they had seen before, a floating creature with multiple tentacles and no clear head or face. A small device near it flashed with light as it spoke. I am High Counselor Vex of the Galactic Federation. The translator converted its sounds to human language. I am here to discuss the situation with Earth. Daehyun straightened his uniform. Counselor, thank you for contacting us. We're eager to clear up any misunderstandings. Misunderstandings, the alien repeated, its tentacles rippling. Yes. Ambassador Trill has reported a concerning encounter with your species. The Council is troubled. It was a translation error, Daehyun explained quickly. When I invited the Zaralians to dinner, I was offering to share a peaceful meal, not suggesting anything harmful. So we have been told, Counselor Vex said. But this raises more questions. Our reports indicate that humans regularly consume parts of other living organisms. Is this correct? Daehyun hesitated, realizing how this basic fact of human biology might sound to species with different eating habits. Yes, humans consume plants and synthesized proteins. This is how our bodies evolved to obtain energy. The alien's tentacles twisted in what might have been discussed. And you cut these living things into pieces and apply destructive heat before placing them inside your bodies. That's a technically accurate description of cooking, yes, Daehyun admitted. There was a long pause before the counselor spoke again. The Federation has encountered species with similar consumption methods. before. Such species often have aggressive tendencies. Humans are not aggressive. Jiwoo stepped forward. We're peaceful explorers who want to join the galactic community. Perhaps, Vex said, but the Council has decided to implement standard protocols for potentially dangerous new species. The ships now orbiting your world are there to ensure Earth remains contained until we complete our assessment. Contained? Daehyun couldn't hide his alarm. You mean quarantined? Cut off from the rest of the galaxy? A temporary measure, the counselor assured them. We must be certain that humans will not pose a threat to other civilizations. After the transmission ended, Daehyun slammed his hand against the wall. They're treating us like savages because we eat food. It's not just that, Jiwoo said thoughtfully. I've been studying the data we have on Federation species. Most of them evolved beyond solid food thousands of years ago. They absorb nutrients through their skin or through specialized organs. The act of eating, physically consuming something, seems violent and primitive to them. So what do we do? Subin asked. Stop eating. That's not possible. Daehyun paced the room. No, but we need to help them understand us better. He stopped suddenly. Jiwoo, your documentary about human food was a start, but I think we need to go bigger. For the next 3 days, humans around the world worked together on what they called Operation Understanding. Scientists, chefs, farmers, and regular people created videos showing every aspect of human food culture. They carefully explained agriculture, cooking, and the importance of meals in human society and family life. Meanwhile, news spread on Earth about the alien ships in orbit. Some people panicked, but most were simply curious. When they learned that aliens were horrified by human eating habits, many found it funny. Memes and jokes spread across the internet about scary humans and their terrifying sandwiches. On the 4th day, a small shuttle departed from one of the Federation ships. A message arrived saying that Dr. Queel, a Zaralian xenobiologist, was coming to the station to observe humans directly. This is our chance, Daehyun told his team. If we can convince Dr. Queel that our eating habits are just biological differences, not signs of violence, maybe the Federation will reconsider their position. Dr. Queel was taller than Ambassador Trill had been, with darker blue skin and scientific equipment attached to its silver uniform. The alien moved cautiously as it followed Daehyun through the station. I appreciate your willingness to visit us, Daehyun said. Not many would volunteer after the misunderstanding with Ambassador Trill. I am a scientist, Queel replied simply. Fear should not prevent observation. They entered a small room where Jiwoo waited with a simple setup, a table with a teapot, cups, and some plain crackers. We thought we would start with something simple, Jiwoo explained. This is a tea ceremony, one of the less complicated ways humans consume nutrients. Dr. Queel's 4 eyes blinked rapidly. I have studied your videos. I understand this is not consumption of sentient beings, but I must admit, the process still seems disturbing. Please, observe, Jiwoo said gently. She poured steaming tea into 2 cups and handed one to Daehyun. The captain lifted the cup to his lips and took a small sip. Dr. Queel watched with all 4 eyes wide open, recording data on a small device. You place the liquid directly into your internal processing cavity, the alien noted. Fascinating and somewhat alarming. It's just how our bodies work, Daehyun explained. We don't consider it violent or scary. It's as natural to us as breathing. For the next hour, Dr. Queel observed as the humans demonstrated various simple foods. The alien asked detailed questions about digestion, taste, and why humans found eating together socially important. In Zaralian culture, we absorb nutrients privately, Queel explained. The idea of watching others process energy is considered extremely intimate. That might explain part of the misunderstanding, Jiwoo realized. When we invited Ambassador Trill to dinner, we were suggesting what your culture might consider a very personal activity. Dr. Queel's skin changed color slightly. Yes, that would be inappropriate for a first diplomatic meeting. As their session ended, the alien scientist seemed less frightened. though still clearly uncomfortable with human eating habits. I will report to the Council that human consumption appears to be a biological necessity rather than a sign of aggression, Dr. Queel said. However, I cannot promise this will change the Federation's approach to Earth. After the alien left, Dae-hyun turned to his team. It's a start. At least someone is beginning to understand us. But is it enough? Subin wondered aloud. The Federation ships are still up there, watching us like we're dangerous animals. Then we need to do more, Dae-hyun said firmly. If dinner invitations got us into this mess, maybe food can also get us out of it. Lieutenant Subin Park had not slept properly in days. The translation center on the New Horizons space station had become her second home. Screens surrounded her, displaying Zoralian symbols and Federation standard language patterns. She rubbed her tired eyes and took another sip of coffee. Any progress? Captain Dae-hyun Kim asked as he entered the room. Some, Subin replied. I think I've found the root of our problem. She pointed to a complex symbol on her main screen. This is the Zoralian concept for consumption. It doesn't just mean eating. It has deep cultural layers. How so? Dae-hyun pulled up a chair beside her. In their language, consumption has three meanings: to absorb nutrients, to destroy completely, and to make something part of yourself. When you invited them to dinner, our translator conveyed the simple human meaning, but their translator picked up all those layers of meaning. Dae-hyun's eyes widened. So they heard me saying, please join us so we can destroy you and absorb you into ourselves? Pretty much, Subin said with a tired smile. No wonder they ran. Dr. Ji-woo Lee burst into the room, excitement clear on her face. Captain, Dr. Queel has sent a message. The Federation Council wants to discuss our situation further. That's good news, Dae-hyun said, standing up. When? In 2 hours. And there's more. Ambassador Trill is coming back to the station with Dr. Queel. Dae-hyun felt hope for the first time in days. Then let's get ready. Subin, we need to fix that translation problem before they arrive. 2 hours later, Captain Dae-hyun, Lieutenant Subin, and Dr. Ji-woo waited nervously in the conference room. The station's viewports showed Earth below and the 4 alien ships above. The door slid open. Ambassador Trill entered first, followed by Dr. Queel and 2 other Zoralians. They moved carefully but seemed less afraid than during their hasty departure days earlier. Ambassador Trill, welcome back, Dae-hyun said, careful not to mention meals or food in any way. Captain Kim, the ambassador replied with a formal gesture. Dr. Queel's observations have been educational. The Federation Council wishes to understand your species better before making final decisions about Earth's status. We appreciate that opportunity, Dae-hyun said. He gestured to Subin. Lieutenant, Park has discovered the translation error that caused our misunderstanding. Subin stepped forward. Your translator devices interpreted our dinner invitation using Zoralian cultural meanings for consumption. We've developed a more accurate translation, Matrix. She handed a small data chip to Dr. Queel. The scientist examined it with all 4 eyes. Interesting. This shows significant differences in how our species understand basic concepts. Ambassador Trill seemed less convinced. Even with better translation, the fact remains that humans physically consume other life forms. This is disturbing to many Federation species. I understand, Dae-hyun said carefully. But is it fair to judge us based on biological differences? We don't choose to eat solid food. We must do it to survive. Dr. Queel turned to the ambassador. My research supports the captain's statement. Human digestive systems cannot absorb nutrients through skin or membranes as evolved species do. They require mechanical processing of food. One of the other Zoralians spoke up. But the cutting of plants, the application of heat, these are violent acts. Only from a certain perspective, Ji-woo said gently. To us, cooking is an art form, even an act of love. When humans prepare food for others, it's a way of showing care. Ambassador Trill's skin rippled in what the humans had learned was a sign of deep thought. Your species is unexpected. You combine primitive biological functions with advanced technology and peaceful intentions. We would like to arrange a demonstration, Daehyun suggested. Not a dinner, he added quickly, but a way to help you understand how humans view food and eating. The Zeralians exchanged looks, their four eyes blinking in patterns. What kind of demonstration? Ambassador Trill asked cautiously. The next day, the largest observation deck on the New Horizon had been transformed. A clear barrier separated the room into two sections. On one side stood the Zeralian delegation, now increased to 10 members, including representatives from the other Federation ships. On the human side, a small kitchen had been set up. "Thank you for joining us," Daehyun said, standing beside Jiwoo. "Today we want to show you that what seems frightening can be understood with knowledge." Jiwoo stepped forward. In human culture, preparing food is often more than just creating nutrients. It's about connection, creativity, and care. She began a simple cooking demonstration, explaining each step clearly. She showed how vegetables were grown in special chambers on the station. She cut a carrot into neat slices, explaining how plants were harvested at the perfect time. The aliens watched with a mixture of fascination and discomfort. When Jiwoo used a cooking flame to heat a small pan, several of them moved back from the barrier. "Heat helps make certain foods safe for humans to digest," she explained. "It also creates new flavors that our taste sensors enjoy." Dr. Queel was recording everything, occasionally asking questions. "And humans have specialized sensors in their consumption cavity that detect these flavors?" "Yes, we call them taste buds," Jiwoo replied. "They help us enjoy food and avoid harmful substances." As the demonstration continued, the Zeralians slowly moved closer to the barrier again. Their initial fear seemed to be changing to scientific curiosity. In most human cultures, Daehyun explained, sharing food is a way to build trust and friendship. When I invited Ambassador Trill to dinner, I was following a tradition thousands of years old, offering to share something valuable as a sign of respect. Ambassador Trill's upper eyes blinked rapidly. This context is helpful. In our history, consuming together had very different meanings. When Jiwoo finished cooking, she and Daehyun sat at a small table and began to eat the simple meal. They made sure their movements were slow and explained each action. "See? Not so scary," Daehyun said with a small smile after swallowing a bite of food. Dr. Queel moved closest to the barrier, watching intently. "The mechanical processing of nutrition is primitive, but I begin to see that it does not necessarily indicate aggressive intent." One of the Federation representatives, a tall being with shimmering green scales, spoke through a translator. "My species abandoned solid consumption over 20,000 years ago. We see it as part of our violent past. Yet perhaps we have been prejudiced against younger species who still require this method." After the demonstration ended, Ambassador Trill approached the barrier. "Captain Kim, this has been educational. Dr. Queel will prepare a full report for the Federation Council." "And what about Earth's status?" Daehyun asked. "Will we remain under quarantine?" "That decision belongs to the full council," Trill replied. "But I will add my personal observation. While humans' biological functions seem primitive to us, your willingness to explain and your patience with our fears show a level of cultural maturity that many established Federation members would do well to copy." It wasn't a promise, but Daehyun felt it was progress. As the aliens departed, he turned to his team. "We've come a long way from them running away in terror," he said. Subin nodded. "From dinner panic to scientific observation, that's improvement." "But will it be enough?" Jiwoo wondered. "Will the Federation accept humans as we are, biological differences and all?" Daehyun looked out the viewport at the alien ships that still surrounded Earth. "I don't know, but we've shown them that different doesn't mean dangerous. Now we wait for their decision." 1 week had passed since the cooking demonstration. The New Horizon space station buzzed with nervous energy as Captain Daehyun Kim and his team waited for the Federation Council's decision. 2 more alien ships had arrived, bringing the total to 6 vessels orbiting Earth in a perfect hexagon formation. "They're taking their time," Lieutenant Subin Park said as she joined Daehyun at the main observation window. Big decisions move slowly, Daehyun replied, his eyes fixed on the distant ships, especially when dealing with a planet of scary food eaters. Dr. Jiwoo Lee rushed into the room, tablet in hand. Captain, we just received a message from the Federation Council. They're ready to announce their decision. Daehyun straightened, his uniform. Let's hear it. The main screen lit up with the image of High Counselor Vex, their many tentacles gently moving in what the humans had learned was a formal greeting position. Captain Kim, representatives of Earth, the alien began. The Federation Council has reviewed all reports regarding human biology, culture, and particularly your consumption habits. Daehyun held his breath. The fate of Earth's relationship with the galactic community rested on this moment. After much debate, Vex continued, the Council has determined that while humans maintain primitive biological functions, your species has demonstrated peaceful intentions and cultural sophistication. Relief flooded through Daehyun. Thank you, Counselor. We appreciate your understanding. The containment fleet will withdraw to standard observation distance, Vex said. Ambassador Trill will remain as the primary diplomatic contact between Earth and the Federation. However, there is one additional matter. What's that? Daehyun asked, suddenly worried again. The Federation Assembly is curious about humans. Your unique biological processes have generated significant interest among our member species. The Assembly has requested a formal presentation about human food culture. Daehyun blinked in surprise. You want us to give a presentation about how we eat? Yes, Vex confirmed. Many species are scientifically fascinated by biological processes. They themselves evolved beyond millennia ago. However, given the sensitivity of the topic, all viewing will be optional, with proper warnings provided. After the transmission ended, Daehyun turned to his team with a bemused expression. We went from terrifying monsters to a scientific curiosity in just over a week. Jiwoo smiled. I think that's progress. So what now? Subin asked. We give aliens a show about humans. Eating dinner? Not just dinner, Daehyun said, an idea forming. What if we create something bigger? A real cultural exchange, the first of its kind between Earth and the Federation. 1 month later, the New Horizon station had been expanded with a large new section specially designed for interspecies gatherings. Daehyun stood at the entrance greeting representatives from 12 different Federation worlds who had volunteered to attend what was being called the Federation Friendship Feast. Ambassador Trill, Daehyun said warmly as the now familiar Zoralian approached. Thank you for coming. I promise no one will be invited to be dinner today. The alien's skin rippled in what Daehyun had learned was their version of laughter. Your sense of humor is another unexpected trait of humans, Captain Kim. Most species would not joke about such a serious misunderstanding. Sometimes humor helps us move past difficult moments, Daehyun replied. The large hall was divided into sections. In one area, human chefs demonstrated cooking techniques behind clear barriers. Alien scientists watched with fascination, recording data and asking questions through translators. In another section, Federation representatives showed how their species absorbed nutrients, some through specialized skin patches, others through photosynthesis-like processes. Dr. Jiwoo walked around, explaining human food customs to curious aliens. Different Earth regions have different food traditions, she told a group of tall, spindly beings. Some humans eat with metal tools, others with wooden sticks, and some use only their hands. The aliens recorded this information with what seemed like shock. Such variety in consumption methods within one species. Fascinating primitive diversity, one commented. Lieutenant Subin managed the translation systems, making sure no more dangerous misunderstandings occurred. She had created a special cultural context program that added explanations to potentially confusing terms. Dr. Queel had become something of a celebrity in the Federation. As the first xenobiologist to closely study human eating habits, the Zoralian scientist now led a research team dedicated to understanding biological retention species like humans. Your people have demonstrated remarkable adaptability, Dr. Queel told Daehyun as they walked through the hall. Most species are defensive about their biological functions. We've learned that what seems normal to us can seem strange or scary to others, Daehyun replied. And the reverse is true too. He gestured toward a corner where a group of humans watched with wide eyes as a crystalline alien absorbed energy directly from light, their body glowing with changing colors. See? My people find your ways just as fascinating. The highlight of the event came when Ambassador Trill made a formal announcement. Standing on a raised platform, the Zeralian addressed the mixed audience of humans and aliens. 1 month ago, a simple misunderstanding nearly caused a diplomatic crisis between Earth and the Federation. Today, we gather in friendship and curiosity. The Federation Council has voted unanimously to offer Earth formal membership as a protected developing world. A cheer went up from the human side of the room. It wasn't full membership, but it was a start. Earth would receive Federation protection and limited technology exchange. There will be special accommodations, of course, Trill continued. Federation representatives visiting Earth will undergo special cultural training, and humans visiting Federation worlds will need to observe certain protocols regarding their nutritional activities. In other words, Daehyun whispered to Jiwoo, don't eat in public and scare the neighbors. After the formal speeches ended, Daehyun found himself standing with Ambassador Trill near one of the viewports looking down at Earth. It's strange, the Zeralian said quietly. My people once consumed solid matter. Thousands of years ago, we evolved beyond it and chose to forget that part of our past. Perhaps in doing so, we lost something. What do you mean? Daehyun asked. The way humans gather to share food creates bonds between you. There is something meaningful in that. Simple act that many advanced species have lost. Daehyun smiled. Then perhaps we can learn from each other. You can teach us about your advanced technology, and we can remind you of the simple pleasures of sitting down together for a meal, even if you're just watching us eat. 6 months later, the Human Consumption documentary became the most viewed educational program in Federation history. Earth joined the galactic community with the unusual distinction of being both feared and admired for their primitive biological functions. And it all started with a dinner invitation that went terribly wrong. As Captain Daehyun Kim often joked, in his later years as Earth's first ambassador to the Federation, in diplomacy, always check your translator before offering food to strangers from space. You never know what they think you're really inviting them to eat.